The movement was begun by a scientist who discovered, quite by accident, these signals being sent. Please understand, they are safe as long as they are not discovered.
They want the weapon.
Look out for Charlie.
I want that son of a bitch dead. I want him dead.
These exact stories just keep happening over and over. A script with interchangeable details, like old Mad Libs with fill-in-the-blank nouns, verbs, and adjectives. You would think that people would begin to question this, but when you live in a world of inverted reality, and you have a body full of aerosol chemicals, GMOs, and McNuggets, I guess it just isn't in the cards. Let me do a comparison to try to knock the cobwebs out of the old electric coconut. So this would be like walking down the street and then suddenly getting hit by a guy on a motorcycle wearing a red helmet. You've been traumatized, but you recover and then you move on with your life. A month later, after your fear of the streets has lessened, you decide to walk to the store for a sandwich. And on your way, you're ran over by a guy on a motorcycle wearing a blue helmet. You walk away with bruises, but cannot believe the odds of something like that happening again. You're now terrified of walking around. Months later, you're tired of living in fear. So you put on your shoes and you march out the door, walking down the street as though you have something to prove. And right when you have your chin up high and you're taking in the sunshine, you're hit by a guy on a motorcycle wearing a green helmet. You've got a sprained wrist, a bump on your head, and you are livid. At this point, you have thrown chance, coincidence, and any other naive ideas out the window. You know this is the same guy, and he's just wearing a different colored helmet each time he runs your ass over. So, you have your neighbor call the police with your phone because you can't use your damn fingers. And you tell the cops that you've been ran over for a third time. And this time, he was wearing a green helmet. So while the detective on the phone is taking down all the details, he states,
"This is unbelievable. The chances of you being ran over by 3 different people is extraordinary."
And you exhale and say, "Exactly!" And there's a long pause. Then the detective replies,
"Will you be able to ID each of these guys when we catch them?"
You are mind blown. You hang up the phone, a changed and let down human being, left believing that the whole damn world has gone stupid. This is exactly what these scenarios are like. So Explore With Us just put out a video called When a 160 IQ Teen Snaps, with exclusive interview with the killer today and with the parents. They get this interview with the parents, an exclusive interview with him and the parents, and then put this Weekly World News style thumbnail up. So shame on those people that bought that channel from that family and they're doing stuff like this, because it's bad. That is in bad taste to do after you talk to the parents and then you put something up like this. So what happened in this story? Let's get into it. Talked about it a lot lately and it keeps happening. 16-year-old kid, never been in trouble in his life, ever. Just before Christmas, he unloads a gun into his sister. 45 caliber, I believe. It makes no sense. He's never been in trouble. He got home from work, everything was normal, and then it just wasn't. So what is going on here? Well, let's talk about it. Let's see what they say about it in the beginning.
It's hard to reconcile how someone like Sonny, with an IQ of 155 to 160, described as highly to exceptionally intelligent, has landed in this seat.
It is hard to reconcile how somebody who is totally normal is just not normal a second later. And it's always something to do with guns, right? Very, very suspicious. The parents talk about how normal they are and how normal they were the entire time. So let's get into that for a second.
They both were kind of like little professors, responsible kids. They got great grades in school.
Now, he goes on to say here that he's a country boy and he's a hunter. The kid had been around guns his entire life. Lots of guns. Lots of guns, lots of ammunition. So it's not like the kid just saw a gun and snapped. You know, that's how they try to paint this crap out. Like the kid saw a gun and couldn't control himself and he had to shoot somebody with it as soon as he saw it. That is how they try to paint this stuff out. This kid had been around weapons his entire life. So he states it here.
I'm a country boy, I'm a hunter, and I have guns, and I've always had guns.
So he immediately knew what was going on when he heard the shots in the living room.
So I immediately knew what it was, but I didn't put it that it was somebody from in the house, like Ashley or Sonny. I thought somebody had came in the house, like a break-in.
So what happened was, after he shot the gun and unloaded it into his sister, he walks into the father's bedroom and is in this trance. The dad goes in to talk to him, and the kid just tries to unload on him. Check this out.
Sonny, and he took off to the bedroom, and I turned around and I saw him go to the bedroom. He was staring straight ahead at the door, but he was trying to change the clip in the gun, to change the magazine in the gun. He's holding the gun, he's holding both of the magazines in his hand, and he's not looking down to see what he's doing. He pushed the magazine into the gun, and he stuck the gun up to my chest. From where I was at this point in time, I was up right in front of him, and I was fixing to grab a hold of him. And he was just kind of staring straight ahead, and he just started pulling the trigger.
So there's something wrong there. The kid's like in this trance, doesn't know what's going on, is totally normal, and then just snaps. Now there's something to this. We're getting there. But what saved the dad's life was the kid was in such a trance that he put the empty magazine back into the weapon.
He had put the same magazine back in that he started with that was empty.
Here is where his mom starts to explain symptoms. Now, this is very interesting. Check this out. I've talked about this in the past many times.
His eyes are all the dark. Everything around here has become dark black.
Here's where it gets even stranger. The kid is talking to himself in the interrogation room before the interrogation even starts. He's just talking to himself about computers, rattling on and on about computers.
Yeah, it was their top. It was supposed to be. I think it's computer source. It's supposed to be $500 for their almost 7 whatever. The max speed of 600K.
It's as if he is explaining computer speeds and computers to somebody.
$500 for their almost 7 whatever.
This is where the important part is. You can have guns in the house. You can have guns.
Try buying a new one.
But every state, the federal law, you have to be ran through the NICS system to purchase a gun. Now, they ran these people through the system to buy the 45 for his dad for Christmas. So somebody was ran through the NICS system at that address, just like all these other cases. And then right after that, something happens to somebody in the house. And he explains it here.
For a bit of pretext, I suppose. Okay. We had planned to get my father a new 1911 45 caliber pistol. About a week ago, we picked it up from the academy. We were hiding in Milo, and Joey could package it and put it under the tree. Basically, not yesterday night, but earlier, I forget. What do you mean?
Couple hours ago?
Yeah, a couple hours ago.
What's going on here? Every time this happens, somebody has just been ran through the system, the NICS system, either hours, days, weeks, or a couple months before. Uvalde, this kid, the kid in Michigan. But there is case after case after case where after the gun is bought for the family, somebody in the family, whatever, when someone is ran through the NICS system, shit goes down. So what is going on with that? Either they begin to hear voices or this happens. And this is very, very strange the way they explain it. This is funny. The shrinks and the quote-unquote experts could not come up with a real reason of what was going on here. They couldn't figure it out. What do you know?
Experts could not come up with a full explanation for his actions, but they did develop a theory. And what do you think that was? Mental health? Mental health? Mental health. Come on, man. I'm so tired of it. Now, this is where the parents go on to explain that it was not their kid that was doing this.
The Sonny that night when this happened was my son's body, but it was not his spirit. Sonny was not there. Was there ever any kind of emotion on his face?
Not for a year and a half.
Not for a year and a half. Now, what else happened to him? His taste buds changed. All these different things happened.
It almost sounds like he had a head injury, or he was being subjected to frequencies.
It was bad enough that he basically, while he was in juvenile hall, waiting trial, he had no taste. Everything tasted like burning plastic.
They to explain to us later that everything tasted like burning plastic, all the food he was eating. So
the only thing he could eat was plain dry cereal. That's what he lived on.
So somebody thinks that this is some psychological breakdown. He has a psychological breakdown. Then all his taste buds change and everything tastes like chemicals and burning plastic, basically, right? Now, this is so insane. Ran through the NICS system, just like every other case that I talk about. And then bam, we got a mental health case. Amazing, right? What are the odds? These people are normal their entire damn lives, and then boom. This is what he told a psychologist.
Sonny apparently told a psychologist that his memory of the murder felt like watching someone else, or looking into a parallel dimension.
A parallel dimension. Like what these people deal with when they walk out into the woods, or when they're alone, something happens. It's pretty much the same thing. It happened right when he entered his room. And then this happens to the kid who was storing the gun in his room.
I felt like the strings had been cut, for lack of a better word. I do, yes. It was terrifying for me. It's the strings just chilling, and it probably sounds ridiculous, and I know it will. But when I walked into my room, the second I walked through my door frame, there was a shift. There's something different. I couldn't really think. My body was moving, but I wasn't able to think.
My body was moving, but I wasn't able to think. Now, he wasn't hearing voices in this that I could tell other than his conversation that he was having in the interrogation room. But people need to think about this. What is going on here? These people are ran through the NICS system and boom. That's it. Not normal anymore. Like you can just snap. This is where these bullshit theories and what becomes science comes from. You know, normal people can have a psychotic break. Okay. All right.
We asked how long it took for him to start processing what happened.
I think I'm still struggling with it to this day. But I suppose for the vast majority of it, I didn't speak for those first 3 or 4 months when I was at the juvenile detention center. I still don't really know what to think. There's these times where I've broken down about it, but my brain's like won't let me process it. Like every time I try and think about it, I still haven't fully processed what's happened. I know empirically what's happened, but to this day I don't understand why it happened.
So the kid was not in control. The kid has been around guns his entire life, so has his sister. They buy a .45 pistol for his dad for Christmas. Somebody has to be ran through the NICS system. They bring it home. Everybody has been normal. The kid walks into his room and is suddenly in a quote-unquote parallel dimension, and he can't control his body, and he is terribly sorry for it. You know, this kid wasn't some psycho. He had no control. There is something wrong here. I don't know how to say this any other way. It's not everybody, of course, but certain people, certain profiles, whatever, something goes down. How about that trans girl in Tennessee? You know, when was the last time, with all that crap that she had bought, Audrey Hale, when was the last time that she was ran through the NICS system? Probably not long before that. Very strange. Now, just to remind you, there was Ethan Crumbley in Oxford, Michigan, and his parents were buying him a gun, or a family gun, and went through the NICS system, and yeah, look what happened.
Crumbley's parents are charged with involuntary manslaughter, accused of buying a gun for their son and ignoring his mental health needs. They pleaded not guilty.
Do you really believe that these people are going to go out and buy their crazy kid a gun and just ignore the fact that he's crazy and buy him a gun? Come on, man. Come on. So what was happening to Ethan Crumbley? She asked Crumbley about hallucinations, and he told her that he hears two voices, one internal, one external. The external voice, she explained, were very fleeting voices that come and go. It's a voice that does not interfere much in his daily life. So, you get ran through the NICS system and somebody in your family gets a free mental health diagnosis. Look at how that works. Amazing, right? Now, here it says, just because Crumley reported hearing voices and seeing demons, that doesn't mean he was psychotic. So they are literally trying to normalize this. Completely normalize it. He was hearing voices. Doesn't mean he's psychotic. He was fascinated with the supernatural. And he was left home alone as a child and watched horror movies. So his imagination as a child was heightened. Are you fucking serious? This is a fucking professional? A professional. And this is what they come up with. Think about this, man. The defense's final argument was he was hallucinating. He was hearing voices. He was suicidal. He was anxious. So, you get ran through the NICS system and someone in your family gets a free mental health diagnosis. Isn't it perfect? Isn't it just perfect? And that's it for now. Look out for Charlie.
I don't like the world now. I mean, before I always knew I was a son of a bitch. But now I'm the only son of a bitch I know. Hey, make way for a real human being. Get out of the way, yeah.
Look out for Charlie. I want that son of a bitch dead. I want him dead.